Good evening, beautiful souls. So lovely to be here with you all. We're going to just wait a couple of seconds for people to start connecting. It's really, really nice having you here with me again tonight. I'm just going to fidget with the cameras just to make sure that we've got the most amount of kind of straight interaction. I hope that this is going to work. I'm trying to figure out different ways on how to do this. So bear with me, guys, but I do hope that we are getting there slowly. If you are connecting, please let us know where you are connecting from, which part of the world. And if you have any questions, the topic tonight that we are going to be discussing is quite a topic, I must say. It is all regarding shadow work. And shadow work is such a close and dear part of my spiritual journey that I thought that I will share it with you guys because it is a necessary part of a spiritual journey. So I hope that we are going to spend an amazing evening together. I'm really looking forward to all the questions. I do have a couple of them that I've received from some of my clients, some people that have been interested in the topic but didn't really want to ask online or couldn't attend the live event tonight. So I hope that these questions are going to be helping us to kind of keep the evening in a flow. You know that I do not present, I am here to share with you. So this is our platform. This is really something that I am creating around us, guys. I am creating around you. I want to have an interaction with you. I don't just want to be talking for an hour. So if you are here, it'll be lovely to know where you are connecting from and which part of the questions or answers will resonate with you, which won't. Maybe some of them will evoke deeper trigger for you. Really interested to find out what your part of the journey is that we can kind of explore together tonight. So we'll get straight into it. We do have an hour. So I hope everybody that has connected so far can see me properly, can hear me properly. If you can maybe just give me thumbs up. If you can see me and hear me, if everything is clear. I don't know how the lighting is, but you know all what I look like. And if you don't, then this is what it is. Okay, so shadow work. It is such a big topic, guys, isn't it? Because when we say shadow work, some people get really triggered by those two little words, shadow work. Some people get scared. Some people respond to it in the way where they kind of feel like they want to run away from the journey that they are on at the moment. And it's because shadow work very often isn't really something that you speak about until you are in it. Okay, very, very rarely I'm going to rephrase that because what I wanted to say is that very rarely people will be asking me about shadow work or even requesting to do shadow work with me in my practice. But actually, that's not really a true statement because recently I have found that quite a lot of people do understand that doing a spiritual journey and spiritual awakening, you cannot really do it without exploring your shadow. So I am going to be starting with just maybe talking about what shadow really is and how do you differentiate between shadow work or your shadow and negative thoughts. Okay, so that we can kind of understand where to draw the line and what to be aware of. So you can see I am so fidgety tonight, right? Have you noticed that, guys? Maybe just drop me a comment. I'm not normally this like touchy, you know. And today I feel like somebody here is really triggered by this topic. Like it's a big, big topic. And for some of you, this topic is really making you feel quite uncomfortable because there is a lot of judgment that you have towards your shadow, that you haven't processed, or maybe you are in the process of dealing with. But really, there is a lot of assumptions as well that we hold against each other as to what we should look like or how we should act, who we need to be accepted by us before we can be accepted by others. And and so if you are connected with us right now, I would like you to just take a deep breath, because this is a completely safe space for you. There is no judgment here. There is no bad, negative, rejective feelings. We are in this together, and we are on this journey because it is hard. Okay, so we are doing this journey together. So you are supported by us. You are part of our beautiful souls community. And if any of what I'm going to discuss tonight is going to be triggering for some of you, then please feel free to send me a private message, and I will be very happy and honored to respond and hopefully guide you in your process as well, as far as I can. So, what is a shadow? So, shadow is the part of you, or I'm going to talk about me. So, a shadow is the part of me that I don't really like, that makes me feel unworthy, that makes me feel inadequate, that makes me feel less than others. It's the part of me that I feel ashamed of. It is the part of me that I wish didn't exist. It's the part of me that I'm angry at. It's the part of me that I wish to hide in front of the world. It's the part of me that really, truly only I know about, because I am very good at hiding it from other people. And these are all the things that people might be experiencing, right, with regards to shadow. And really, in my work with my shadow, and I'm going to be talking about it as well, I've learned that it is an absolutely fundamental part of me. And all the things that I've just named are things that I have experienced at some point of my spiritual journey, and part of my work with shadow, with my shadow. But you might find that you are still partially, or maybe fully, and that's okay, in some of the things that I've just mentioned, where you are still angry with your shadow, you are still ashamed of it, you still want to hide it, you still feel less than other people, because less worthy, because you have this shadow. And so it is interesting, or it would be interesting, just to hear from you guys. So if you are here with us tonight, please drop a comment here so that we can kind of engage in communication, in an exchange, in energetic exchange. I would love to hear from you. Now, shadow is usually something that people don't like about you, something that people might be rejecting, something that you might be punished for if you express it, or if it comes out, if you can't hide it in that moment. Okay. And it might be different things for different people. So some people might experience their shadow like me. My shadow is anger. And actually, I think it's not just anger, I think it's rage more than anger. For some people, it might be a deep shame that they hold against themselves. For other people, it might be jealousy. It might be evil, if you can call it that, where you are wishing bad on other people. For other people, it might be the fear of not being good enough. Okay. And so your shadow will be different for you than what it will be for another person. And that's what is so important about this journey, that we learn more about what the shadow can bring in us, how we respond to it, how it makes us feel, so that we can recognize it no matter what our shadow is. Okay, does it make sense so far, guys? If you are here with me tonight, just drop me a comment or send a thumbs up, so that we can kind of navigate the conversation in the direction that will be good for you. Um, Now, why is shadow, or working with your shadow, or acknowledging your shadow, knowing what your shadow is, why is that important for our spiritual journey? Because partially the main, that's an interesting sentence, partially the main purpose of a spiritual journey is to become wholesome in who you are, right? To love yourself wholeheartedly with everything that you have to offer. And what that would mean is that ultimately you have to accept the parts of you that you love and the parts of you that you do not love, that you wish that you didn't have, that you would like to reject, if that makes sense, or you are rejecting. Okay. And really, shadow work is teaching you how to become more compassionate with this part of you, how to integrate it into you. And that's a really important word, guys. Integration of your shadow with your other parts is really, really important part of your shadow work. Um, I'm not sure if somebody has connected just recently now, but I feel like somebody here that is with us tonight is really having this inner conflict with their shadow, where they really are struggling to integrate it. They even find it difficult to just acknowledge it and name it. That's how deeply engraved the rejection is. And if you find that this is you, or this is resonating with you, just know that this is normal. Okay, it's part of the process, because very often our shadow is the part of us that is rejected by those that we love, right? So I'm going to talk about me here again. So because my shadow is extreme anger or rage, whenever I would get angry in my past, the people around me would reject it. My ex-husband would really, really reject it. He couldn't handle it at all, because I turned into someone he didn't want. I stopped being the sweet girl that everybody walked over, that was the people pleaser, that would do anything that I saw in your eyes just to make you happy. And when I was angry, and really angry, that deep, profound anger, I would want to destroy, I would want to hurt other person. If somebody was hurting me, I would be hurting them back in my shadow. And so a lot of people were quite shocked when my shadow would come out, because I'll try to hide it as much as I could, because I knew that that's not the Pavli that people wanted to see, right? And that is, I feel, one of the most difficult parts about working with our shadow, because yes, we can do all the work for ourselves and by ourselves, but ultimately we have to bring the shadow out into the public, right? Because if we want to integrate our shadow, then we have to be okay expressing it in front of other people too, without feeling the shame, without feeling the rejection, without feeling the that it's making me less worthy, or less than another person next to me. And so that part of exploring your shadow is really, really important. Okay. I hope I'm making sense, guys. If anybody is here with me, I can see that some of you are. I know some of you are shy to come on board and kind of, so to speak, speak with us or make comments, but that's okay. That's all part of the journey. It's just, for me, it's easier when I'm speaking to people rather than just presenting. So another part of the journey that I've had with my shadow work has been self-forgiveness. And I think that's a really, really important part of working with your shadow as well, is because if you are to, this is a really beautiful word to use, if you are to befriend your shadow, you cannot do it from a place of rejection. You have to do it from a place of acceptance, love, a place where you're recognizing your shadow, but it's no longer a negative trait for you. Okay, so as I was working through my shadow, and it took me a good few years, guys. So this is not a journey that you can jump into and within a week, 2 weeks, you are done. At least in my experience, okay, in my opinion. What I've experienced during my journey with my shadow work was I had to first acknowledge it, recognize it. At what point is it my shadow, and at what point is it the negative thoughts that I've been programmed to, or pre-programmed to feel or think? And at what point is it really the shadow that I need to now explore, I need to allow, I need to understand, and eventually I need to learn to love? And having anger and rage as my shadow work, I think it is difficult in the sense that when your shadow comes alive, it is so overpowering. It is so overwhelming, guys, that it just kind of like, it comes like over you, and then it completely takes over, where you actually don't know what is happening anymore. And recognizing that point in your life is so important, because you cannot do anything with your shadow. You cannot work with it. You cannot learn from it if you are denying it. Does it make sense? I hope it does, because this is really important. So if you are at the beginning of your shadow work journey, you will notice that you really at first have to just learn to recognize when you are getting angry because something happened, and when it is the soul anger, the soul rage that you are feeling. Does it make sense? Also, another part of working with your shadow is, and I did mention this before, is the self-forgiveness, because you need to be able to coexist with this shadow, whatever it is for you. And in order for you to coexist, you have to let go. Thank you, Impo. You have to let go of the need to manage it, to navigate it in some ways. And you just have to step into allowance. You have to be present with your shadow. So I'll tell you an example, right? So when I started this journey, it was actually in COVID. It was during COVID, guys. And a few months before COVID, it would obviously fester, right? I mean, I've always had this anger, and it would come out every now and then. And it was really just difficult for me to understand, where does this rage come from, and all of that. And it started to become really, really intense for me because it would just come and it was coming more and more. And I didn't understand because at some point of my journey, I didn't even need a trigger to feel this incredibly powerful rage. And I remember during COVID, so it wasn't in the lockdown, it was afterwards. Actually, wow. I love these aha moments. So, when you have that moment in your spiritual journey where everything just goes, nice and quiet, and you're feeling like, ooh, this is nice. This is like I've done all the work now, and this is like calm, and everything is peaceful, and I'm just existing. This is lovely. I'm enjoying this. And then you realize later on that that was the pause before the storm. You know what it feels like in the air before the storm starts? And you're just feeling this incredible peace and calm in the air before the terrible storm starts. And that's actually what I felt during the lockdown. And I couldn't understand it. I was like, whoa, I'm not doing any spiritual work. I wasn't reading any spiritual books. I wasn't looking at any videos. I wasn't listening to podcasts. I literally binge watched for 3 weeks. I binge watched Czech series. That's what I did for the 3 weeks. From the morning till night. It was crazy. And I felt like I'm wasting my time. I'm not meditating. I'm not kind of growing and exploring and whatnot, whatnot, whatnot. And now that I'm speaking to you guys about how actually consequentially it happened and my really deep shadow work started, it happened shortly after lockdown. And so it makes, now that I'm saying it with you guys and I'm sharing this with you, this is such an incredible feeling actually for me that I am able to share this with you. Is because I then did the really deep shadow work afterwards. And it was absolutely overpowering and very, very overwhelming for me. I remember I would wake up in rage. I would go to bed in rage. My daughter was quite small at that time, and I was really enraged with her. I wouldn't necessarily show it. Like I would shout, which also wasn't okay, but I had to, it was part of the whole self-forgiveness journey that I had to learn. But I would just be continuously super angry because my shadow was ready to be acknowledged. And it almost felt like because it was so strong, I couldn't ignore it anymore. And I had to start asking, why am I so angry? Where is this anger coming from? And I do believe, in my experience and in my opinion, that when the shadow becomes that strong, that overpowering, you almost have no choice but to start asking those really powerful questions that will then lead you to exploring, where is this anger coming from and what does it actually mean. And that's how very often we get to work with our shadow and even understand that this is our shadow. I thank you for your comments and your questions. I will get to them just now. Keep them coming, guys. With regards to knowing whether it is your shadow or if it's a negative thought, what you have to look for is the simple signs. If it is your shadow, then you will feel compassionate towards it. You would feel like you want to integrate it, not reject it. You won't have the questions, something must be wrong with me, what is wrong with me? Or you won't justify, this is just who I am, this is just how I am. You won't be questioning your existence. You will rather ask, what is this anger about and where is it coming from? Okay, does it make sense? So there is a difference where if it is negative thoughts, you will kind of be you will be entangled into the negative thoughts, and the negative thoughts will spiral into more negative thoughts, and it will kind of create like a spiral down where you're getting more and more negative, and everything just starts to feel more ugh. Whereas if it is your shadow work that you are doing, then you're going to start at some point to feel, I want to use the word friendly towards your shadow, where you will have more compassion, you will have a little bit more understanding. You will be able to then stop hiding it and rather be mindful about it. So going more into the pausing and sitting. If you are a client of mine, you will know exactly what I'm saying. This is one of my favorite phrases. You must sit in it. So if you are feeling something that is triggering, that doesn't feel good for you, my advice is sit in that feeling, because that feeling is the catalyst for you to start realizing something that needs work, that needs your attention, that needs your love. Okay, makes sense, guys? Are we cool with this so far? Am I explaining it in the way that everybody can understand? Any questions that are raising up from what I'm saying, please let me know. Um, okay, explore it. Tell me more, Tian. It's nice to have you. Okay. I'm gonna just go into the comments in the um oh, okay, right. I understand. So basically, you're saying don't ignore it or drown it out. Absolutely, 100%. Explore it, like be in it. Um, sit with it, make it your friend. Whatever it is, guys, whatever the emotion is, you need to, and I have spoken about this in some of my videos before as well. Every single emotion that we have is a good emotion. What we do from the emotion very often then links to good or bad, right? But that's our perception. That's what the society has created so that it can kind of have power over us and our responses and our reactions, right? Because we obviously, as human beings, we want to be good, but what does that really mean? I mean, I can be as good as I can be, but another person might not necessarily feel that I'm good. For them, what I do might be horrible because they've had similar experience from someone that hurt them in the past. And so it's such a difficult concept to be good and only feel good emotions. So every single emotion that we have inside of us is good in the broader spectrum of things. What we do with those emotions, or what we do when we feel those emotions, is the negative, okay, or can be viewed as negative. And therefore, in order for us to almost like take away the power from the emotions, is to acknowledge them, because that's all they want. If my anger is trying to be acknowledged by me and I keep rejecting it and I keep hiding away from it and I keep running away and I keep avoiding feeling angry, then what is my anger going to do? If its only need is to be acknowledged by me, then what is anger going to actually do? It is going to start getting stronger and more powerful because it needs me to finally acknowledge it. And that's all it is. That's why I say sit in your emotions, guys, because the more you sit in them, the more you are giving them the space without judging them. And therefore, they can be what they need to be and then leave. Very often, you will find that if you are feeling certain emotion, if you give it enough thought without needing to judge it or navigate it or understand it, if you just simply are in it, eventually, after a little bit, it'll go away on its own. You don't have to do absolutely anything. Has anybody experienced that? Let me know. I'm going to just read some of the comments so that I'm not getting lost here, and maybe you guys have a different understanding or different idea of how I navigate tonight. I relate to anger and rage. How can you identify the difference between the soul anger and just and situational anger? Okay, so Danae, have I answered your question? Because I have spoken about this maybe in a little bit of a different way, but I have spoken about how to differentiate between your shadow and the negative thoughts. So this is very similar, Um, with regards to your specific question, if you have a situational anger, it is a very quick anger. Actually, this is a beautiful example that I'm going to give you of a technique that I've been using. And actually, I used it with my own daughter when she was younger. And because I knew that my shadow was anger, I knew that it's going to be coming up for me, right? I knew that anger is something that I have to learn to accept and love and be with, and so do the people that I love, right? And therefore, I developed this little technique where I would have a scale 1 to 10, and 1 to 3 was anger that would be caused by, people in South Africa will know, where a taxi just comes in front of you and cuts you, and you just get this like, "Argh!" and it's gone just like that. It comes very quickly and it goes very quickly. Then between 4 to 6 would be the anger that would be somebody kind of doing something to you or at you, where their action is directly directed at you. So you can feel that anger coming out, and it's a little bit more stronger, it's a little bit more powerful, and you can even do more damage with this anger, and it lasts a little bit longer, right? So I would have 4 to 6 for me at that point would be, if I had to repeat myself continuously with my daughter and she still wouldn't do what I asked her to do, then I'll tell her, hold on a second, I'm getting between 4 to 6. And she'll know, mommy's going to get really angry just now if I don't stop. And then it goes into 7 and 8. And 7 and 8 is that level of that emotion that becomes really deep. Okay, that becomes like, then it brings up other emotions with it to the surface. Okay, so it doesn't just come alone. It's this like anger, but now it's bringing back the past. It is now bringing back like the feeling that you are ungrateful, the feeling that I am being judged, maybe because now I am angry, and all of these emotions are coming together with the primary emotion. And 9 and 10, you better run. Like, that would be my ultimate anger. That would be the destructive, really powerful, almost like a dragon within me that would come and burn whomever is standing in front. And I've had in my life a couple of episodes where I would feel my anger at the level of 9 or 10. And that really wasn't pretty, guys. That is the level of emotion that consumes you completely. And that's why it's called the shadow, right? Because in that moment, you have absolutely zero control over your reaction. And in that moment, I believe that we are capable of doing things that we wouldn't have otherwise done ever. And like when they say in court, when somebody does something really, really bad, and in court they blame it on, there's like a fog, like a blackout, right? In the moment, I used to feel that kind of a blackout with my shadow coming in a full force. Has anybody experienced that, guys? Or is anybody here that is watching, listening now? Has anybody experienced that now? Is anybody going through that now? Because that is a really difficult and tough part of shadow work. So if you are, reach out. If you're not comfortable saying it on here, that's okay. But don't stay in it alone. Doing shadow work requires support, guys. There is such a fine line between you being supported and therefore loved, even if you can't love yourself in that moment, and showing the light within you despite the shadow. And there is a difference when you are doing it alone and you cannot see the light within you, and all you see is the shadow, because that can become really depressing. It can bring up a lot of stuff that if you're not guided through this, if you don't have enough support structure, you can really succumb to the process, okay? And that can be quite dangerous. What questions can you ask to explore it? What tools can you use to explore it? I like journaling, for example. Absolutely. So journaling is a beautiful way to explore your shadow, asking yourself what you are feeling, what is the feeling causing, and being really honest, guys. I feel that that is very important part of any shadow work if you are working on your shadow at the moment. Or maybe you are in the process. Okay, that's also fine. If you are becoming aware of it and you are planning to do your shadow work, the most important part is for you to be absolutely brutally honest with you as to what is going on. Because if you are not, you are still suppressing, and therefore you are not fully acknowledging your shadow, and you are not integrating with your shadow. Okay, the whole point of doing a shadow work is to integrate with it. Okay, makes sense. So there is the journaling, there is meditation, there is being mindful. You know, more than meditation, the classic meditation is more like, oh, okay, my cat has just fallen down. Okay, are we okay with that? Shame, he just slid on one of the plastics. So, Bingo, are you okay? Come say hi. Maybe that's what you wanted to do. Hey, hello. Come say hello. There we go. So this is Bingo, everybody. Say hi. Say hello. You're also working on some shadow. Where was I? Can anybody remind me where was I, please? And that's what happens when I'm in the moment and I get distracted, I forget. Okay, so by the time you guys remind me, I will just read. How do you do shadow work if you have not answered it yet? Okay, I've answered that, I think. So, interesting question. It's just another part of you, as in the shadow. Yes, absolutely. So our shadow is very much a part of us. We cannot separate the shadow from us. If you step outside, and it's a sunny day, you will have a shadow behind you or in front of you. It doesn't matter where. It's going to be long, it's going to be short. You cannot separate yourself from that shadow, no matter how fast you run, guys. It is part of who you are. Okay. And this duality that society has created, and the belief system that our bad traits need to be hidden, it's just a way of manipulation. Okay, manipulating us into believing that we are not good enough as a whole being. Okay, that we have to hide the part of us that society doesn't like. Actually, the whole point of working with your shadow is becoming mindful of it and understanding that it is completely part of you, and learning how to work with it, how to be in your shadow. And I'll talk about this just now as well, because it is so important to learn how to be in your shadow without reacting, without allowing the shadow to take over. Okay, so I will talk about this just now. I just want to quickly see. You were at meditation. Oh, thank you. At least some of you is listening. Well done. So, with regards to the tools that you can use, right? So, journaling is really good. Meditation, but not meditation as per se, but more kind of sitting in the emotion, what is coming up for you, and just allowing it, whichever direction it takes. It doesn't really matter as long as you are being in that awareness. Okay, because then little bits and pieces will start to come into your mind, into your consciousness, and you will start to link certain maybe events that are causing it. maybe certain memories that are sparking that shadow within you. And you will then know how to kind of navigate your healing process. Okay, makes sense? We also have group seatings where people are discussing this and feeling safe, similar to what we're doing now, is just that I'm the only one talking. But where people are creating a safe space for others to share their experiences with their own shadow. Okay, makes sense? Okay, so I am going to talk about or bring up some of the questions that I've had, so that we kind of we get a different angle of the discussion. So why is it important to look at the parts of myself I don't like? I have spoken about this because we cannot be whole if we keep ignoring parts of us. Okay, I'm sure everybody's cool with that. Have you ever discovered something in your shadow that surprised you? Actually, yes. And now I'm going to talk about what I said, what I promised that I'm going to talk about, is how I sit in my shadow. So, as you know, my shadow is extreme anger, rage. And what is really surprising is I've been working with this now for years, as you know. Lockdown has been 5 years now. And what is really surprising is that I can be very, very angry, but I will not respond. And unfortunately, with me, I wear my emotions on my sleeves. So you will know, I cannot hide anything. I mean, if I'm happy, I'm happy. If I'm sad, I'm sad. If I'm angry, I'm angry. You will know. And I used to feel, how did I feel? Because my daughter is an empath and my daughter can see it, obviously, just like that. And she can pick up immediately when I'm angry. And all I would see is this little being just going like, and kind of assessing, how angry is mommy right now? Like, is she really angry or is it still okay? And it made me feel very conscious of being angry. And I remember at that time, I didn't quite know how to handle it, because I knew I had this incredible anger coming up for me that I had to process and I had to deal with. And I had those eyes coming at me, staring at me, watching what is my response going to be? How am I going to react to this anger? And it was just feeling so uncomfortable. And that is also part of your journey with your shadow, is to learn to, you have to be okay in your shadow, not the people around you. I didn't need to make my daughter feel comfortable. I had to be comfortable. Does it make sense? There is a big difference. I don't need to do anything while working with my shadow or while feeling my shadow to make people happy around me. I have to reach a point where I am comfortable being in my anger. And I think that was probably one of the longest things that I've experienced with my shadow work, is kind of being okay in it and not feel guilty. I used to feel a lot of shame. I used to feel a lot of guilt for being angry. And what I found surprising is that at some point of the journey, I would feel this incredible rage within me. And I would carry on my day-to-day duties. I would still laugh and talk and love my daughter. I would be able to conduct sessions with my clients. I would be able to drive, go shopping, cook, whatever it was that I needed to do. I would do it with the awareness that there is something inside of me that I don't really need to do anything with, but I just need to be aware of. And sometimes it would take me days, guys. I mean, I remember at some point of times during my journey with my shadow, I would be in this quite intense anger for about 4 days. And now this is very important as well. And I'm not quite sure how to articulate it, so bear with me. And if I'm not making sense, then obviously English has failed me. So please let me know. Caitlin, especially you. Hi, lovely to have you. Caitlin is a teacher. So if I do speak nonsense, please let me know. So, when you are in your shadow, you can still do all the things that you need to do and still be loving towards everybody around you, because it is not, I'm going to use your term, Danae, situational anger. It's much deeper than that. Okay. So you are not reacting to something that has happened now that requires your reaction. You are experiencing something so much deeper than that. And all you are doing, and because it's not a situational anger, you don't have to respond to it. You don't have to do anything with it in that moment. You can just be mindful of the fact that it's there and it's doing whatever it needs to do. Does it make sense? So you can still do all the things. I mean, my food would come out really nice, and I would have really amazing sessions with my clients. I would laugh with my daughter. She would feel completely loved. But I was just aware in those moments that I have also in me, in that same moment as I'm laughing with my daughter, I'm also aware of this anger, deep rage within me. Does it make sense, guys, the way I'm explaining it? I hope it does. Please let me know. So we've got another question. I've been there. People around me pick up something is wrong and might call me on it, but I don't know how to explain it. Okay, well, so that's interesting, right? Because the minute you feel that you don't know how to explain it, do you feel in that moment that you have to justify it? That you have to give them a reason why you feel this anger? Or whatever you are feeling, whatever your shadow is? Because the minute you have to justify it or you have to make it clear to other people means that you are maybe somewhere still not 100% okay with it. Because the moment where you know that you are kind of doing, oh, this is a big pause. Did you feel that, guys? Whoa, it kind of felt a little bit like some people needed that pause, right? It was triggering something. Let me know if that was you. But where you just like kind of feeling like you need to know exactly where you are at, right, with it. You need to come to the point where you are able to talk about it as if you are talking about the book that you've read or the shopping that you need to do later. Because at that point, it becomes a matter of fact. That's all it is. I'm really angry. I have anger as my shadow, and it's okay. I have no issue with it. I don't feel guilty about it. I don't feel like I need to explain it anymore. And I definitely do not feel like people can make me feel bad for feeling the anger. Makes sense? So Tia, maybe it'll be interesting to see where this is coming from, the need to explain it in the way that people will understand, because that's another thing about shadow work, right? Once you reach a certain point in the journey, you really don't care whether people understand it or not, because it's got nothing to do with them. They don't have to understand it, and they definitely don't have to accept it. You do. Make sense? That's quite powerful. Okay. Thank you, Caitlin. Okay. Yes, like I don't quite know why I'm feeling a certain way, more irritated at myself. Okay. Ooh, okay. So this is a lovely way that we are now kind of unpacking certain things that I probably wouldn't have even had through your questions. And that's why I love this live interaction, because if you are irritated with yourself for feeling certain emotions, then you don't have them processed. You haven't integrated with them yet. Because if you integrate with your emotions, whatever they are, you no longer have negative response to them. They just are in your space every now and then. Make sense? Okay. This is an interesting question. I'm sorry, I keep playing with my hair because they are so long now. So, do I need a coach, therapist, or guide to do shadow work safely? This is interesting. I really wanted to say yes, absolutely. And as soon as that yes was coming out, it kind of was like, no, we're going to block it and hold it back. So that's interesting. So my understanding was that yes, absolutely, you have to have somebody, but now they're actually saying, but you didn't have anyone. And I didn't, because a lot of the journey that I've done in my spiritual growth, I've done alone, because I had to learn kind of every step of it so that now I can teach my clients, right? And I can kind of guide them through their own journey. But what is coming to me with this question is, more than having a coach or therapist or someone to guide you through the shadow work, you really need to understand what shadow work is about. Because when you understand it, then you can kind of understand how you are doing with the journey. And if you are struggling at some point, then you can reach out to someone to help you with that, because it might not be throughout the shadow work. I mean, mine has been so far 5 years, and I know that I'm not finished yet. I know that every now and then I still lash out and I still feel this anger, but it might not be necessary for you to have a guide or a teacher or someone therapist with you throughout the journey, but definitely in some parts of it. Okay. Okay, we've done that. If the shadow is a part of me, why do we try to hide it? I did speak about that also, because it is rejected by the society, by those that we love. And we always want to be projecting the best version of us at our people, right? Can doing shadow work make someone better or more authentic? Ooh, better being in inverted commas. Oh, I really don't like that word, by the way, guys. Oh, I think it's such a limited word, isn't it? Like, you have to be better. What does that mean? Like, it's almost like we become entrapped in this belief that we are never enough, right? That we always have to be better and better and better version of yourself and be better version of yourself. No, just be authentic. Be authentic. Every moment of every day, try to be authentic. Don't try to be better, because what does that mean? Okay, I can respond differently to an event today to the same event that happened yesterday. I will respond to it differently today because I'm having a different day. Make sense? So instead of trying to be better, let's try to be authentic, true, every single day if we can. Okay? And yes, absolutely. Can doing shadow work make you more authentic? 100%. Because the minute you recognize that this, whatever this is part of you, and you learn to accept it and love it, then you feel safe inside of you to be truly who you are. And I'm going to let you think about this for a few seconds. How many times have you assumed that people judged you for something that you did? And how many times Have you made that up in your own mind? Resonating with you guys? Let me know. Because if we assume that people are rejecting us for something, who is really doing the rejection? We are. We are just projecting our rejection at the other person. So, in order for us to become wholesome and authentic, we have to first accept it with ourselves. Make sense? Because now, instead of lashing out of my anger, I tell my daughter, I'm really angry and it's nothing to do with you. I'm just really feeling angry today, or this has made me really mad. Like, I'm really mad at you right now. But that's pretty much it. Because I'm just aware that I'm really mad. And then what I need to do is I need to introspect and go in and say, okay, is my level of anger related to what has been done? And if the response is yes, then I go into consequence, right? But if it's not, then I know that I first need to process what has caused this, and then I can introduce a consequence. Because the minute I'm going to start introducing consequence from my overwhelming shadow, I'm probably going to intimidate my daughter to the point where she's going to like lose her trust with me. Because it's my shadow I'm dealing with. Her reaction or her situation has just caused my shadow to awaken from being asleep. Make sense? Please let me know, guys. I had a coach identifying the shadow and its origins. Thereafter, I am mindful when I recognize it bubbling 100% and pray for peace in my heart. I find myself manifesting my desired outcome often. Absolutely important. Also, I would just like to put in your attention here or bring to your attention here that how about instead of praying for peace in your heart, you start allowing yourself to feel peace in your heart, even when your shadow is bubbling. Because when you allow yourself to feel peace, even though everything inside of you is full of this shadow, whatever it is for you, then you are still the driver of this journey. You are okay with your shadow. It's not for God to make you feel better. It's not for God to forgive you for how you're feeling. It's not for God to make you feel better. It is for you. Make sense? Oh, and I'm feeling so much of energy coming into my heart space. So, guys, definitely some of you need self-love a little bit more practice in this. Yeah. Resonating strongly. A lot of times it was me in my own head when they were actually emphasizing 100%, right? And Paul, right? It makes sense because so often we judge ourselves and our actions. And because we are in that judgment, we are projecting that at the person. And whatever reaction they give us, we already assume that it's the rejection that we feel towards ourselves. So just be mindful of that, guys. Okay. Hi, Nico. Welcome. So it's just bringing it up so you can address it or face it. It's a nice question. I would say more than bringing it up, because we are talking about bringing up your shadow, I would say more being in your shadow. Yeah? Because bringing up means bringing up is like, I'm going to bring it up, and very often we are overwhelmed with it. If you being in it, then you are it. There is no separation. You are it. I am my anger. Okay? I am this rage. And guys, can I be powerful when I feel it sometimes? Can I do things that I would have never guessed that I can do because it's a driving force? So maybe this is a beautiful exercise that you can all do. Why don't you all take a few more minutes after we finish the call tonight and just write down few things that you know that you've done in the past when you were fueled with your anger. I would so love to know about this, guys, because some of you might be blown away by what comes up for you, by the fact that you are doing these really amazing, great things while you are fueled with your shadow. Please, can we share that together? I think that will be awesome. I am going to, okay, this is also a really important question. And I can see that we're going to go over time again tonight. It's a really deep topic, right? Is it possible to go too deep or get lost in shadow work? Absolutely yes, guys. Okay. We can go too deep and we can start to feel like we cannot escape our shadow, okay? Like we will be feeling like we are losing balance because everything in our mind will then become about the shadow. Everything we will do, we will then focus on our shadow. Make sense? We can also start to believe that in order for me to become whole, I have to emphasize on my shadow. Like I have to talk about my shadow. I have to be in my shadow. I have to love my shadow. And when I do that, then I'm whole. No, no, no. Shadow is part of you. You have other parts of you that you still need to integrate, that you still need to love, that you need to be in touch with. Shadow is just part of that. So shadow work should never be your whole attention. Make sense? Your entire progress work. I hope it makes sense. Also, what can happen as a result of doing too much shadow work is you can become really overwhelmed and you can start to withdraw from people. You can start to isolate yourself because it's just too much. It's too deep. It's coming up a lot. And if you don't know how to integrate it, if you don't know how to bring your shadow into peaceful, calm state again, then you can really start to feel very overpowered by it. And that's not a nice place to be in. Okay, where your shadow is going to start guiding your journey forward, not you working through your shadow. Make sense? Also, another beautiful question that I had here, it's not really a question, but it was more like shadow work often uncovers old wounds, repressed emotions, or traumatic memories. Without proper tools, you can experience re-triggering your old traumas. You can experience really deep and very overwhelming and very strong emotions that you don't know how to deal with. You don't have the tools to deal with emotions of such strength. You can even feel unsafe and destabilized, because you will then find yourself responding from your shadow, not from who you are. Makes sense? And I think what is the most powerful part of shadow work journey is having support around you, telling people around you that this is what you are doing. Okay, I remember when I started working with my shadow, I actually spoke to my family, and I said to them, my immediate family, and I said to them, I am working with my shadow. My anger and my rage is my shadow. And this is what I need from you. And lay out clear boundaries as to what you need, okay, what your needs are. Because when you feel angry, the last thing you want to do, if it's your shadow that you're dealing with, the last thing you want to do or experience is for your loved ones to start pointing out to you, oh, you are such a terrible person, look at you, how you're behaving, you shouting again and whatnot. Your family and the people that are close to you while you are working on your shadow also need to understand that this is part of the journey. And therefore, when you are in that, they need to back off and allow you to deal with it the way that you need to deal with it. Make sense? As long as you obviously are not really bad, like behaving badly towards them. How do you avoid getting stuck in shadow work? That's a great question. I think the minute you start to feel that all of your attention is directed at your shadow, whatever that is, the minute you start to recognize the thoughts of, I am the problem, something is not right with me, something is wrong with me, I am a bad person for doing this, feeling this, acting like this, and everything kind of becomes about you, not your shadow, where you become the shadow. Does it make sense? Because you need to understand that this is not you, it's part of you. Resonates? Yeah? Your shadow is not you, it is part of you. So you should treat it as such. You should talk about it as it, not me, it. Make sense? Let me know, Tiam. And then obviously, when you do feel that you are getting stuck in it, then ask for help. Seek someone that can help you. Okay? Caitlin, you mentioned isolating ourselves. Is it okay to sometimes isolate ourselves when doing shadow work? 100%. Absolutely. So this is two different isolations. Okay. The isolation that I'm talking about is when you know that you are dealing with your shadow and you need to integrate, you need to process it, you need to feel it, you need to understand who you are when your shadow comes up to life. That's different than isolating because you are feeling overwhelmed. In the first instance, I am not overwhelmed with my shadow. I am just aware that I need to spend a little bit of time with it alone so that I can really recognize it. I can understand it. I can see what it's doing to my body. What emotions and thoughts am I having while in my shadow? The latter is when you become totally overwhelmed and shadow starts taking over. Make sense? And you feel that you have no control and therefore you want to hide. It's not an isolation to process, it's an isolation to hide away. Does it make sense, Caitlin? Just let me know, maybe give me a thumbs up or something. As usual, guys, I did have a hot water at the beginning of this call, and now I'm going to drink this cold water. So, how is everyone doing, guys? How are you finding it tonight? Really beautiful topic, right? It's such a deep, profound topic, and I think it's coming up so much now, because the spiritual awakening that we are going through collectively on this planet at the moment is really so strong that it's very difficult for people to now hide away from their shadows. We because it's such a fundamental part of our spiritual awakening, we really have to deal with it. We have to learn to face it now. So I hope it was useful tonight. Maybe just let me know how you found it, if there are any more questions that you have for me before we close off the call. But I really enjoyed the flow of the interaction tonight. I felt that it was really nice for me to be interacting with all of you guys and seeing new people here as well online. So yeah, thank you for that. And I think my dog agrees with that statement as well. Milo, Milo, come here, boy. There we go. Come say hi. Hello. Hi. Okay, he's not saying hi, but I'm sure he'll come again. Yeah, let me know how you found it tonight, guys. Is everybody happy? Is everybody happy to close off the call? Oh, there is a delivery, guys. So my dogs hate those delivery bikes, it's the delivery and whatnot, the pizza guys. Oh, so there's something about the sound of the motorbikes that they really cannot handle. So, but it's okay. We've got a little bit of yapping from them tonight for before we say goodbye. So let me know if anybody else has any questions. And if not, then we'll be saying good night. I hope that tonight was useful for you guys. If you have any questions, if it sparkled anything that you might want to discuss in more details, or you have a question that you don't want to put here, but you really want to ask, I will be happy to answer it the best way that I can. And I look forward to the next one. I have no idea what that will be yet. So if you have any topic that you would like me to talk about, please let me know, guys. I'm always looking for an inspiration, because these talks are for you. This is not for me to come on board and talk for an hour. This is actually a really difficult part for me, by the way. I like interaction, live interaction with people. I draw the attention. I draw the divine intervention, the mediumship messages, and all of that. So to be talking like this is quite a challenge for me. So if you enjoyed it, please give it thumbs up. I would love to hear from you. And if you have any topic that you would like me to cover, you can send me a private message on my social media, or you can just drop a comment here, and I will definitely include it in my next talks. Okay. Have a beautiful evening, and I do hope that everybody is well and everybody is going to have a lovely evening going forward. Have a great evening and goodbye.